Tubies. It's Psychic Bob. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday night. And you know what time it is? The witching hour. I'm here tonight. We got our old crew back together. We got Lady Angela and Lord Tony. And I'm going to let them each say hi to you. Jump in, guys.
Hi, everybody. So excited for tonight. Can't wait to see what happens.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be back. Hope everyone has a good time tonight. It should be fun.
That's right. We always have the best time. And it looks like we're already getting people in the chat room going over there, Lady Angela. You want to give us some shout outs here?
Yep. We got Melanie Miller. We got Allison Costello. We got Amy Crafts. We got Lilith. We got Amy Bell. We're so glad to see our regulars here and also a couple new names.
I'm loving it. Well, you know, guys, welcome. I'm just so glad you're here with us tonight. You know, we always have the best time. And having you guys here is, oops, I just hit my mute button. Hold on a second, guys. Am I still with you, Lady Angela?
Yep. We also got Veronica Klepzeric, Laura M., Gab Hines, Natalie McGinnis, Spirits Journey Films, Us and Them, Osama Ui, Denise Dowing, Wicked Dreams, and I think I saw Armani in the chat box too. Hi, everybody. Linda Limbach. Lots of OPC people here tonight, Bob.
Right. Welcome, OPC members. And welcome those of you who are new. Now, a lot of you are just new. You've been hearing about our show and you said, what is the witching hour? We gather every Sunday. And this is for anybody who's interested in magic, occult things, witchcraft. It's also kind of the weekly meeting of the Order of the Purple Cord. And the Order of the Purple Cord is a Wiccan order that I started. And Lady Angela and Lord Tony joined me, and we are the officers of the order. I'm the high priest. Lady Angela is the high priestess, and Lord Tony is the Lord Guardian of the order. And we have a great time. And we'll talk more about the Order of the Purple Cord later, but I want to just welcome you for right now. What do you got going on, Lady Angela? What have you been doing lately?
Well, I got to say thank you to Lord Tony for telling us all about shungite, the wonderful stone shungite. I've been getting a lot of orders for shungite at Rare Wicca Spells, and also I got some shungite pieces. I got a pyramid, a shungite pyramid. It's one of the same ones that I have on my website, Rare Wicca Spells, and also a shungite bracelet, which this bracelet, you weren't kidding, Tony. You said that it will help you with transitions and transformation. It has made, I'm going through some major stuff right now, some transition job changes. And this bracelet has really made me feel empowered and brave and focused without my mind getting, you know, lost in all the anxiety and the who's it's and what's it's around what I got to do. It's really empowered me to do what I got to do. And I got to thank you, Tony, for that, for telling us all about it and motivating us all to treat ourselves to some shungite. Oh,
yeah. Shungite's amazing stuff. I don't know what I'd be doing without it other than probably laying in bed with migraines all the time. It's amazing stuff. I can't say enough about it. I feel completely different when I have it on me. And if I don't have it on me, it's almost like I'm sick. It's just, you lose that, like it brings extra life to your body just by having it on. And you lose that over time if you're not wearing or have it around you. And I don't like that feeling at all.
Yep, I have to agree. It was a very big, and I also feel grounded wearing it, you know, especially going through the transitions. I feel grounded and confident and not so worrisome and in my head, more focused and right here. So it's been, you weren't kidding, you know. So what Tony says about these stones is true because I've experienced it firsthand.
Well, you know, Lady Angela, I was at your website and you really have a nice selection over there. I'm dying to get one of those bracelets, so you'll be seeing my order come in tonight.
It's wonderful. And, you know, it has several of the stones strung on an elastic cord, so it's kind of one size fits all. And, you know, they're not like crystal stones. You know, they're very opaque and kind of a dull, dark, blackish color, but they do radiate such energy, you know, and such grounding force. I mean, Tony really describes it well, and I found that. And then here's one of the pyramids, and I have hearts. You could get a stone heart and a very large Merkaba made out of shungite. Those are some new items that I hunted down just for special for our videos, and I'm having a lot of fun with that.
Oh, I'm so excited. I saw that Merkaba over at your site. Oh, I tell you, that's got my name written on it also.
2.5 inches diameter.
It's massive. It's like, wow. I didn't know they made them that size and in shungite. I mean, that's like rare. I've never seen it like that.
Yeah.
So very, very impressed, you know. And, you know, I tell you, oh, so I just saw something go by here. Hi, Jennifer Croxton's here. I got to give a shout out to her. And she says she loves your shirt, Lady Angela.
Thank you. It's a witchcraft shirt. It has a practitioner sitting like on a stump or on a rock working with the herbs, and it says witchcraft by it. Bob treated me to this as one of my Yule gifts, and I just love it. So
it suits you well. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. Well, yeah, I tell you, we got a great turnout tonight. It looks like a lot of people are joining us. And, you know, you guys have been really asking us to keep teaching and to learning things. And we all here love to, you know, we're all perpetual students. I don't claim to be the great master. I just claim to be somebody who's explored these things and love to share along the way. And I thought tonight we'd have a little talk about scrying. For those of you who haven't seen, last night I did a different type of seance video. Normally I do trance channeling, but I decided to do something different last night. I did a scrying seance using this, my black crystal ball. This is a new device I just got. Isn't that lovely, Lady Angela?
that is lovely, Bob. That's really great.
And this is an 80 millimeter black crystal. That's the size. It's about 3.5 inches in diameter. And I really am enjoying it. I tell you, it's been a wonderful device. But you know, when we talk about scrying, first of all, I guess we should try to define what scrying is, because some people may not know. Scrying is looking into any sort of reflective object and going into a trance state that opens up that object to serve as a portal for visions, a portal at distant scenes, a portal into the spirit where it can go any place really. Tonight I thought we'd show some of our scrying devices and talk a little bit about how you start with scrying. Okay. Now, Lord Tony and Lady Angela also have some scrying devices. There are many ways to do scrying, and I thought each of you guys would like to maybe just jump in and show some of your scrying devices.
You could go first, Tony.
All right. I actually left one upstairs. It's my I have an obsidian globe, kind of like Bob has. I don't use that one very much because it's actually doing another purpose upstairs. But I have a black scrying mirror that I like to use that I had made a couple years ago, and yeah, this one is pretty. You know, it's pretty simple. It's very reflective black, and it also keeps a lot of glare out. So I usually have it like a single candle in front of it, and it's the only light that it's the only light source I'll use with it, and I'll just focus on what I want to accomplish and what I want to see, and I'll just wait. And usually something appears in the upper corner. I'll usually see like a flash of blue or a blue ball come through, but most of the time it just lets me know that it's there. And I don't really get too much information other than, okay, yeah, I'm here. What do you want? Thanks. So
I love it. Lord Tony, let me ask you, when you use your scrying mirror, have you had the experience of seeing it like kind of cloud over? I've seen like different.
Yeah, it goes almost like a foggy type gray, and that's usually when I'll start to see the image form in it. And I have a picture somewhere where I actually took a picture because something was going on in there, and the whole upper half of the mirror looked weird. It looked like it was not even belonging in the picture. It was something like distance off into it. You know, I could see two images in there too. It was weird.
That's neat.
What about you, Lady Angela? You have a scrying device?
You know, I do have some scrying items, but you know, my favorite way to scry, Bob, is to turn out all the lights and light one or more candles and just relax and open myself up and concentrate on the flame until the whole room kind of like goes foggy. And then I get messages, I hear things, or I'll see things played out in my mind's eye. And I receive messages that way when scrying. But usually if I dim the lights and turn on a candle, I'll put an object there, something like I could use my shungite pyramid and sit it there. Also, I've used my crystal ball a lot in that way. Mine's about the size of yours, Bob. Only thing is it's clear crystal. And it's one of the flawless ones where you don't have the bubbles in it. And the light really does a lot of play on this when it's going. And I'll just focus on the candles dancing, the crystal ball there, the whole aesthetics going on, and just let my mind go. And I'll hear messages or see things played out in my mind's eye. Another thing I like to do is you could pick these up at different places. It's a little stand and it lights up and it cycles through colors. Well, when you sit a crystal on this with the lights out, it's also very meditative. See how it cycles through the colors? I'll have it dim with a candle going and my crystal ball there and this little treasure there playing about. This is a selenite tower. You could pick these up online or at my website, Rare Wicca Spells. And you could get a hold of these at a lot of different places, but it's really fun. And I use these kind of things for scrying.
That's really cool. You know, that just raises the point, which I think is wonderful, that, you know, there's not just one way to scry. You know, I one time read a witchcraft book, and it said witches can only scry in a clear crystal ball. And I thought, because most of the early witches didn't have the luxury of a crystal ball. The crystal balls back in the day were owned by the aristocracy. The common witches didn't have them. They would oftentimes scry at a lake, you know, or in their cauldron, you know. And, you know, that brings up, somebody just asked a question, which has slipped by, but somebody said, is it safe to scry? And, you know, I say that's a very good question. I believe it is safe to scry, but I also would say that, like any spiritual activity, it requires focus and reverence, because you are, in a sense, opening a portal. And you can open that portal through a lot of different means. And we're going to talk more about that also. But to answer your question in a nutshell, I think it is a safe activity, because it comes from a combination of the door opening and your own spirit connecting to, you know, to the all.
Someone in the chat has an interesting story they're sharing. The person's name is Someone You Can Trust. And they say, hello, Bob. I just had an experience using a clear quartz or a clear crystal quartz ball. They have a dark blue velvet cloth, and they saw space, and then a guru, and then an alien. And then they saw the alien, and it was looking back at them in their face. That's intense. That's very interesting.
Well, I think, you know, the thing is, when you talk about scrying, we can't always, you know, control what comes through. Now, there are ways to do that, and we'll talk about that later. But generally, when you're first starting out with scrying, the best thing is to simply be open to see what comes. Because what you have to do is you've got to get to know your scrying device and know how you interact with that scrying device, you know. For years, I wanted a black crystal ball. I've worked also with the black mirror, and I like them both. But I had never had the experience of the black ball. And I tell you, the interesting thing last night when I was doing the seance is that this ball is not clear. It is solid black. It's actually crystal, lead crystal. It's not the stone obsidian. But I do love obsidian balls, but they're very expensive. This is a glass ball, a lot more affordable. But you know what's interesting is, even though it's solid black, it took on the appearance as if it was glowing from within, which was fascinating. And I've never had that experience with a crystal ball before. But this one, it really was glowing within. Fascinating, you know.
That is fascinating. Wow. Oh, so, Sebastian Frank says that they have a ghost in their house. Could it be possible to communicate with that ghost through scrying?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Scrying is a way a lot of old-time witches open the door to the spirit world. And Lord Tony, you know, I believe you've had spirit communications through your mirror, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have. I know one of them, the blue orb that I saw come through at one time. I'm pretty sure that was an angel. But yeah, some of the other stuff I've had come through, I'm not sure who it was. I had one that I think I told you about it a long time ago. Something literally scared the crap out of me in the bathroom when I was doing it in there, and I heard like just a really deep croaking. And, no, sorry, I'm gone. But I wasn't ready for that.
Well, you know, that raises a really good point, Tony, is that sound also can come through the scrying device. Because for any of you who saw my seance last night, I was actually hearing voices. And that was really fascinating for me, because generally when I scry, I don't generally get voices, but I got voices also with vision last night. So, Tony, that's really interesting.
That is. Now, Laura M. asks a good question of, could it open to evil or could it present danger? What can we do to prevent that, Bob?
You know, I think a really good question. It's kind of like anything really can become dangerous. I mean, the simplest thing, like a light bulb, can shock you to death if you don't put it in right. And, you know, scrying is no different, because you are, in a sense, opening a door. And this is why, you know, as a psychic, I always discourage, like, and I don't say this not younger people, like teenagers, from, you know, entering into these things in a flippant way, because, you know, it's very easy to, you know, you hear horror stories about people getting to you know, having a Ouija board gathering, a bunch of teenagers, and then death predictions come through and scary stuff starts happening. Yes, you are opening a portal. So again, it has to be done with reverence. I like to do simple purification. First, I like to purify my scrying device. And usually I use frankincense incense to do that. Well, I'll clean it just with, you know, like water, you know, to clean it down, polish it up. And then I'll sense it. And that raises the vibration, because frankincense, the reason why it's been used, you know, the Catholic Church loves it, and every spiritual worker loves it, is because it sets a higher frequency. So when you start with the intent of reverence and seriousness and raising the frequency, you're going to get a better experience. So, you know, you're already starting to block the lower stuff.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. And also, too, you know, if you do it at a time whenever you're relaxed, or even if you're just exhausted and it's part of you've meditated, you're quieted down, you just kind of feel there, and you just feel like, you know what, I'm going to open up to maybe scrying here. When you light a candle or you put some kind of item there that you're just going to, it's a focal point, and you let your mind just relax, and then you're going to see things again, images. I find if I'm really tired when I do it, I get the best and strongest images. I think it's because my conscious mind is finally kind of sitting back, and then my subconscious mind is able to become bigger and more empowered to receive those messages. Do you guys think that too?
I would agree with that, actually, yes. You know, when I was in the spiritualist movement, they always said the subconscious mind is the bridge to the spirit world. And I think that that's sort of, you know, entering into that state of relaxation definitely opens that bridge to the spirit world. Yes.
Absolutely. Someone had asked about incense that are good for scrying. You know, there's a lot of incenses that'll help you with setting the atmosphere of many different things. And I encourage you to burn incense, whatever speaks to you. But there are some herbs that are more corresponding to scrying. Like I know lavender is, chamomile is, frankincense, myrrh, dragon's blood. I'm sure Bob could probably add to that, or Tony too.
He's used other
There's
ones.
so many.
I love lavender. You know, that's one of my.
Yeah.
It totally puts me in that place. And sometimes I like rose incense too. You know, especially if I'm trying to connect with Mother Mary. And you know, rose incense is wonderful.
Sebastian Franks asked an awesome question. They say, are certain zodiac signs more physically inclined than others?
Or psychically inclined?
Psychically or physically?
Yeah, psychically. There's no H. Psychically inclined.
Yeah.
Big difference.
If we're talking physical prowess, I'd definitely say Leos are powerhouses like that. But psychically, you know, I find this, well, honestly, all the zodiac signs have a psychic element. But the ones that I find, like in terms of, I'm just speaking from a psychic place, professional psychics, many of them fall under these following signs. They're usually, a lot of them are Cancers, Pisces, and Aquarius. This seems to be kind of where a lot of psychic power rests. Now, Scorpios actually have a great, deep, intuitive psychic stuff as well, but a lot of times they don't seem to be a sign that reaches out into the public in the way that a lot of these other signs will. So there are definitely psychics that are Scorpios, but I don't see it as regularly in the psychic world.
Great answer, Bob. I'm typing, so I can't think. Maybe Tony can say something.
Yeah, I saw on the comments, I can't remember what their name was. I see it coming back up. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it because I'll butcher it. They had mentioned that they don't trust mirrors because they're portals. Well, I had that brought up to me before about I have a portal in my home, and I'm not exactly sure where it is, but it's a big one, and I need to close it because I got some stuff coming through that doesn't need to be here, and I'm not sure of that myself on how to properly close something like this. So maybe Bob knows.
Yeah, I'll help you with that. We'll have to talk about your specific case offline because I don't want to get into personal stuff right now, but you know, I will tell you it can be closed. And yes, portals, but let me just clarify this. Any scrying device can be a portal. So, you know, in that sense, are you opening a doorway? Yes, you are. But then again, that's why, you know, we want to really do it reverently and with our guards. You know, we raise the vibration. We call in our spirit protectors, our guardian spirits, our angels protectors, our elemental protectors, our fae protectors, all of them, you know. And I always say with scrying, you know, you may have a bad experience with one device, but don't throw out all scrying because it may be just that your energy relates to that device in a different way. For example, in fact, let me show you here. So, you know, we talked about my black crystal, but there are other ways to scry as well. Like, for example, I also have a scrying bowl. And if you like this, you can get this scrying bowl at Lady Angela's site at rarewiccaspells.com. And I love this. I'm a really big fan. And what I've discovered is that I get very different effects. For example, when I'm doing the crystal, it's like I literally said it was glowing last night. And that was a whole different effect. And the communication of sound came through. When I do the bowl, I don't really get sound as much, but the energy of the water raises the vibration very rapidly. And I tend to go into visions more intently and more quickly, and they last longer. So they each give me a different effect, you know. And in fact, I'll show you, Tony, I have a scrying mirror also that I made a long time ago. It's old, but this is a cool one that I have. And it's like yours, very shiny. And this is old. It's got a crack down here in the frame. I'm going to repair it, hopefully. But I love my old scrying mirror. And so, you know, there are different techniques. Now, we're showing black mirrors and black crystals, but like Lady Angela shows, you know, you can also use clear crystals, or another scrying device I have is a silver mirror. This is my travel scrying mirror because it's small and lightweight, and it's silver mirror. And you can just angle it so that it creates a clear field and you don't see yourself in it. And this is a wonderful little portable. So, you know, I would say try different techniques, different items, because I think you'll get different effect.
Forgot about the mirror. I have one exactly like that, and I love it. I absolutely love it. We got some more great questions in the chat. Jenny Lynn Hinkle says, how does she get to hear what they need? How can you help those spirits you feel around you? How can you get to where you can hear them, Bob?
Well, you know, that spiritual hearing is called clairaudience. And the funny thing is, when I started out as a psychic, I could only see spirits. I never heard them. And I just assumed, oh, well, I guess I don't have the ability of clairaudience. Now, interestingly, my teacher who trained me observed me doing readings one day, and I was reading for another classmate, and I was like, oh, I see a man beside you. He has a gray mustache. I'm describing him in perfect detail. And the lady's like, oh my God, yes, that's right. That's my grandfather. And when I spoke to him, I said, are you her grandfather? He nodded. So I was like, yeah, he's confirming. And then he started talking, and my teacher said, well, what's he saying? I said, well, I don't know. I never hear them. And she said, well, why not? I said, well, it's just like they're behind a glass wall. That's how it's always been. She said, well, did you tell the spirits that? I said, oh, no. She said, well, tell them that you've got a glass wall and they need to remove the glass wall. And honest to God, when I did that, it's like full Technicolor sound come in. I was like shocked. And so you might want to give feedback to the spirits you interact with and tell them that you can't hear them and you'd like them to remove the glass wall. I'm telling you, it works.
That's great advice. Is somebody else?
I'm sorry, say that?
I'm getting feedback. Are you unmuted?
You faded out. I couldn't hear you.
I think your mute is okay, we're back. Okay, Sebastian Franks asks, is astral projection dangerous at all?
Well, you know, I don't like the word dangerous. I think that's too loaded. I think anything, as I said, in life can be dangerous. Astral projection is no more dangerous than walking across the street. Depending on where you live, that might be more dangerous. Astral projection has built-in safeties, like because it's our soul traveling. Our soul has a silver cord. And when you travel outside the body, that silver cord allows you to come back to the body. At a certain point, you can make a conscious decision to sever that cord and then you'll die. So I guess in a sense, yes, astral projection can lead to death, but generally it's not an accidental thing. You have to consciously will it.
Interesting.
I actually have to add on to that I don't think if you're not ready to astral travel, you're not going to be allowed to. I'm only saying this because the first time I actually tried it, and I was pretty sure I was going to succeed at it. As soon as I started to leave, I felt something grab me by the throat and slam me back down into my body, and it literally hurt. I felt my throat hurt for days afterwards, and it pretty much discouraged me from trying it for a while. So if you're not ready, I wouldn't try it.
I think that's a very good point. It's like, you know, these skills, they open when you're ready for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, absolutely. Good insight, Tim. Thank you.
You know, one of my biggest astral traveling experiences was to one of your guided meditations on astral travel, Bob. And I closed my eyes and I participated in it from my own home, just listening to your guided meditation, where you meditated and then we raised up from our bodies, and then we raised up through our roof, and we could see our house and our surroundings. Then we floated out towards the moon. It was amazing. And then we even saw the constellations on the other side of the moon. It was awesome. That was my first astral traveling experience. And since then, I've tried a few other times, but I always remember what you said, to imagine that silver cord that ties us to our bodies. And it's like a safety belt, you know, and you can always just float right back down. Amazing stuff. Great topic. Great questions.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful question. I'm so happy you had that experience, because once you have it, it's amazing. The first time I astral projected, I was 14 or 15 years old, and I was actually going to a drama arts workshop in high school, and there was a guy who was teaching relaxation techniques so people could be better controlled when they go on stage. And he taught us a very similar exercise where we went up to the roof. That's where I learned that from. It was a little different than what I taught, but it has similar elements. And it amazed me. It was the first time I ever did it. And I knew I was clearly outside of my body, and it was amazing. I think it's a good thing to do. And I think Lord Tony's suggestion is that you do have to be ready for it. So again, like all these things, we don't want to be flippant about it. It's very serious work.
Yeah. Or to force it. I think it's better to let it, you know, your skills graduate. But sometimes we have to hold restraint because we're so worked up and we want to be able to do what Bob can do. And so we try to push ourselves and stuff, and we get frustrated that it's just not falling into place. Well, as we grow, stretch and grow, we do develop and progress in our abilities. Amy Johnson says, what do we have to say about dealing with nightmares? Amy, cedar is the best thing for nightmares. There's many ways to incorporate it, whether it's some of the branches or some of the bark or some of it ground up into a powder. But you could either burn it as an incense. You could put, I have shavings of cedar I have in a little mojo bag, and I keep it inside one of my pillows because I have dreams at times too that are sometimes wild, and I'd rather them just be, either be inspiring and positive or just don't trouble me. So I put little shavings of cedar in my pillowcase. So you could put it under your mattress, you put it in your pillowcase, you can hang a little bit of it over your bed. There's many ways to incorporate it, but cedar, I believe, is the do all end all for nightmares.
Excellent. One of the things I'm a big fan of is I think it's very good at night, especially for psychically sensitive people, to keep a bowl of salt, SALT, sea salt or just regular table salt, in a cereal bowl by your bed. What salt does, it's a purifier, and it breaks down any hostile energies in the room, and it's kind of a guardian over you while you sleep. And I found that to be very helpful.
Oh, wow. Stephen Jones says, Bob, he was in a local woods today, and he called in a circle, and it snowed and felt so much different. Do the weather elements affect different circles? P.S. It was a positive circle. That's an awesome picture.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Oh yes, weather energies, elementals are magical. In fact, there are witches who specifically work solely with that. The old sea witches, I like to think of myself as a little bit of a sea witch, even though I don't live at the ocean. Someday I will. The sea witches really work with the winds. They work with the waves and the water and the earth elements. So yes, those elemental energies can really affect a circle. They can affect everything because, that's where a witch draws their power. They draw their power from earth, air, fire, water, and spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So when we as witches get in touch with those elementals, our magic blossoms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I run into people a lot that they're asking me about why they can't make the magic make the change. They're doing things like out of the recipe book of the spells or the rituals, but nothing's happening. And sometimes, most times, we have to tap into an energy outside of ourselves, such as elemental powers and into the god and the goddess and nature around us in order to heighten our own powers to make the magic make the change. So if you've been struggling on a spell or something, first I would say to question your purpose. Is this truly in alignment with your greater good? And then secondly, draw on the energies of the elements and the Lord and Lady in order to strengthen your works, and you will see a difference.
Jenny Lynn Hinkle just said she has a Himalayan salt lamp.
Mm-hmm.
Finds it very powerful for helping her.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Yes, salt lamp's great in your bedroom as well.
Yep.
Lord Tony, I have to ask you, have you ever done any weather magic? Have you ever explored that?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, I've only done a little bit. I'm a little hesitant to jump and do weather magic because I always think, who am I to decide the weather for the whole neighborhood? I might ruin some land. So
I love storms, though. I have no problem going outside and watching all the lightning come down and blow my trees over.
Weather magic isn't just about trying to spark weather. Huh?
Something's going wonky on my end on you guys.
I don't participate in trying to make it rain or make it storm, but I do take advantage of the weather, such as when it's a really wild lightning storm, thunder and raining, I put pots outside to collect that rainwater. It's very powerful. It's full of the electrons and the electricity charged from the atmosphere. It's very powerful water to use in any kind of magic. So that's one way I'll use the weather magic. Or you can leave your stones or trinkets out in the lightning storm, and they're going to get charged from all that energy in the air. So that's another way to do it. Or melting snow into water, that's powerful. There's a lot of different ways. Or writing a request and letting it fly away. If you're having a windstorm, real heavy wind, send your prayer off in the wind. Those are ways to use weather magic.
Oh yeah. Well, you know where I live, there's a creek right by my house, and right after a storm, it just flows like literally waterfalls. And a lot of times I'll go out there and I'll cast petitions into the waterfall because I got that water energy just really raising vibration to manifest stuff. Wonderful way to do it, you know.
Oh, how funny. Stephen Jones, he's laughing out loud. As I was talking about collecting snow and melting it into water, he's actually outside doing that right now.
I love it. I love
Got a
it.
jar of storm water from the last August. Gab Hines does. Yeah. I've kept it for a long time. Sometimes you need to keep it in the fridge, though, because depending on what kind of quality of water falls from the sky in your area, it doesn't keep forever. But you can sprinkle some salt in there, and it will help it along the way. So,
Spirit Journey Films just asked, what type of pots do you use to collect your water?
oh,
Is there any
geez.
specific type that you'd recommend?
No, whatever I have available that's empty and big.
Hey, Angela, are you here?
It could be
My
like a,
screen's
yeah, your screen's being funny. If I have an empty tote, you know, that you have a lid to, I might sit that out there, or a pot, one of my big cooking pots, or just different, whatever container I could put out there that's big. I want the big ones. I've even used before. I needed some of that water for a spell before, and all I had available was my giant plastic mixing bowl. And I put it out there. One time I even used my pitcher that I make iced tea in. Yes, I did it. I put it out there and I collected rainwater in it. And then I transferred into another container, like a giant vase and stuff like that. I'll put it in. So, but yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to what container I use to collect that water. Whatever I grab and stick out there works.
Lord Tony, I need to ask you, what about shungite? Is that something that can be charged in a thunderstorm, or would it be harmful to it? How does that? Have you ever done anything with that?
I don't see a problem with it. You know, it's been exposed to the elements. They have a whole lake that's basically formed over the stuff, and the water is so pure they don't filter it anymore out there. And
Wow.
so it's plenty good. You know, in thunderstorms, I'm sure that would actually help it energize a little bit more, but I don't see it hurting it at all.
You know, Tony, I think you've done the whole OPC a great order, a great service by introducing us to shungite. I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
Absolutely. Gab Hines uses an old jam jar. Absolutely, that works too. Or you know, you go to the secondhand stores and you look over where they have their knickknacks, and sometimes you can find the most amazing bottles. I sent Bob one for Yule a few years back. One that was it's a bottle and it has a nice cork on it, and it might have been a wine bottle at some time, or a really big thing of stinky perfume. I don't know, but it was empty, and I put rainwater in it, and it worked wonderfully.
Is that the silver bottle you get?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that. Actually, it's over there. I can't get it now, but
yeah.
Wonderful bottle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really high energy.
Yep.
Somebody just asked a question also. Where'd it go? I just lost it. I have to come back to it. Sorry, I saw it. I started getting it. It went away.
Sebastian Franks asks, where do the Fae live?
They live all over the earth.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. They live in houses. Like almost everybody has at least one Fae in their house. They live in trees. They live in the fields. They live in forests. They live in the oceans. You know, you've heard of mermaids, right? Well, mermaids are the Fae of the sea. People say, is that real? Mermaids? Absolutely, yes, they are real.
Yep. Spirit Journey Films asking something about if I use a metal pot. Yeah, I've used my big pot, you know, like my spaghetti pot. Yeah, I've put out. One time I had a great big giant deep one. My son called it a bucket, but it was just like a tamale pot. I put that out there and collected rainwater before.
Yeah, Hero of Wind said, or were we talking about fairies? Yes, Fae is the collective term for the fairy people. They're also called Fae. It's the Old English name for them. Good question. Sometimes I use terms people don't know, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Katie McKenzie wants to know if we've heard of the Selkie and if they're related to mermaids. I've never heard of that one, I don't think.
I've heard of Selkies. I'm not that familiar with them. I believe they are connected to water elemental spirits, though.
Mm.
I don't think they're directly mermaids, but they're kind of like our cousin to that.
Mm-hmm. Very good questions.
Somebody just said, why is the bottom of a mermaid a fish and the top is a human? Well, that's a really good question. And there are a lot of different theories about mermaids' physical structure. Some of them are more disturbing than others. I'll tell you the disturbing one first. The disturbing one is that some people say that during the times of ancient Atlantis, they were exploring cloning and they cloned humans and fish, and the mer people resulted as a result of that. That's one theory. The other theory is that as elementals of water, they take their form that they enjoy. And so most fae have a human element to them, but they also can be otherworldly. And so I think when we talk about mermaids, they're really fae that take a form that they're happy with.
Very good questions. Jennifer Croxton's asking, is there a good day to do a Book of Shadows blessing or protections? To bless your Book of Shadows, I'd recommend the best times of the month would be on a new moon or on a full moon. Those are ideal. But there's certain days of the week that could be excellent too, depending on the planet alignments. Speaking of Book of Shadows, Bob, I have 2 little ones I just finished up. I got to do show and tell.
Guys, Lady Angela's books are just works of art. You have to see. Show us, Lady Angela.
Okay, now these are 2 travel books, okay? So they're the smaller version. The first one is themed on keys and pentacles, and it's done in black. Isn't that pretty? That's one I just finished up. It's going to be sent to the buyer here. I incorporated different ways with the keys. And then the next one was an angel book, and I did something I'd never done before. First of all, making an angel book was pretty cool. But it's in the silver dragon color that we've seen before, and it has little tiny angel wings and also a very large detailed angel wing that kind of makes a heart. So this is an angel-themed travel book of shadows. So I just love making these books. Each one has its own personality, and it's always an honor to make one for a brother or sister of the craft.
Those are beautiful. I have a few books Lady Angela has gifted me with over the years, and they are really heirloom pieces. And I tell you, if you buy a book from Lady Angela, you're getting a real treasure, and it's something that you can pass on to future generations. It really is, because she handcrafts every single element is handcrafted, hand stitched, papers printed. She makes her own artwork, all the graphics. She makes everything literally piece by piece by piece. So it's not some like import from China. It's American made.
Yep. That's right. I print them, I cut them, I sew them, I hook the covers on, and they're hardback covers. And put the fabric, and I customize them how you like them. If you like a certain color, I incorporate that as the cover. If there's certain animals or symbols or deities you're connected with, you and I put our heads together and we come up with just the right one. And then I keep you updated along the way. And it's really exciting to make these. And it's very specific and special to that person, which is cool. So I'm actually about ready to start. I got one started, but one's going to be a steampunk book, Bob, with little gears on it. That's going to be fun.
Well, I'm all for innovation and design and creativity. And as I was saying, Lord Tony, I believe you're connected to the union, aren't you? And, we like American made.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking like workers' unions?
Yeah, are you in a union?
No, I'm not. No.
Oh, I thought you. Okay. Well.
No, the company I work for won't do anything like that, and there's really no need for it. They treat everyone really, really well. They respect everyone's wishes, so they pay us really nice there.
You appreciate the concept of American made, don't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
Armani said a comment earlier when you were talking about the mermaids, and how they could turn out different ways. And it just come by and it tickled me because he says, they look like shrimp, right?
Ooh. I suppose they could, yes.
Yeah.
They probably don't taste as good.
Ooh, shrimp. Mm.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, Crystal, I remember that book I made you, Crystal. She says she owns one of my books. I remember that special one I made for you. I remember it. And I believe I even plucked a certain symbol off of my own book because it told me it needed to be on yours. So I do remember your book. Absolutely. I remember them all. They're all special. Absolutely. So,
Steve,
Bob, how do people get a hold of you if they want a reading?
yeah, okay, hold on. Let me come back to that because Steve James has had a question here.
Okay.
Says, guys, I have a woodland area which my family used for, it's a large 190 acres. Oh, it just went by. Steve, you may want to re-ask that. But till that comes back around. To answer your question, Lady Angel, yes, for those of you who are new here, maybe not new, I am a full-time professional psychic medium, and I do readings literally every day, all day long. And if you want to get in touch with me for a reading, you can, there's a few ways you can call my office at 571-483-2112. And the number will be in the video description box after this video post. Or you can write to me at readings at Robert dash little hyphen Hickman, HICKMAN.com. Or you can just visit my website, which is robert-hickman.com. And again, the links to this, to all these links will be in the info box below the video. And I'd love to read for you because, you know, in a private reading, as many of you have had readings with me, you can tell people it's a full hour, you and me one-on-one, and we cover everything: past issues, present issues, future issues, spirit guides. We look at your past lives, your soul journey. We look at your mission, your life theme, and I answer all your questions. So I cover a lot of information at the hour.
Absolutely. The question from Stephen Jones popped up. He says, guys, I have a woodland area which my family uses for a woodland area. It's large, about 190 acres. Sorry he don't know what that is in USA math. He's in the UK near New Forest. He's picked up on a girl and a guy in that area.
Yeah.
Is that the question you were mentioning?
Yeah, I thought he was asking a question about the Fae on the land. You may be picking up some Fae on that land because I'll tell you, I've lived in the UK and there are spirits and Fae everywhere there. You know, in terms of your property being haunted, I do believe it is. The man and the woman, I'll tell you around it, they were actually former tenants on the land. They go back to around mid 1700s. And they were in love, but they were not allowed to be married. And they both died tragically young. And so now they're reunited. But they don't want to leave. They're afraid if they leave the land that they'll get separated again. Yep. But you want to tell them they can go over to the light and hold hands. Tell them to hold hands and you take them over to the light.
Yep. Veronica Clips-Eric has a great point. She was giving an answer to someone else in the chat. But she brings up how you can write someone's name on a piece of paper and put it in a baggie, add water, and freeze it in your freezer to bind them. I've done this. I had a neighbor move in once. I was at we were traveling, so we were in a travel RV. So we're traveling, and this neighbor moved in by us, and this girl was one of the wild locals. I mean, she was a wild one. She had different people coming to her house all day, every day, and carrying on, and she was one that liked to run her mouth. I'm a keep to myself person, but this had to stop. So I actually wrote her name on a piece of paper and I froze it in a baggie in my freezer. And sure enough, it happened within a week that she actually ended up moving. And I didn't want to make her have to move. I just wanted her to stop her shit. So that's what I did. And it actually is very effective. You can do that, or you could take an apple and cut it, carve into it their name, put the pieces back together, and then wrap it with a red thread. It takes a lot of thread, and at first it's kind of hard to hold the pieces together to wrap it. And I have an incantation I use, and you can find it on my website, Rare Wicca Spells. But you do that, then you can freeze that in your freezer too. I've done that, and that works amazingly as well.
I'm a big believer of the put them on ice spells.
Yeah.
And I had many cases in my own life where I had to do that to save my sanity. And yeah, I recommend. Good sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Let's see here.
Lotus Night Rain just said she's in a union.
Lotus lives in the most beautiful area. I believe she lives in Hawaii. And she's shared pictures of it when it's raining there in Hawaii. And my goodness, are the images amazing. So beautiful.
You know, I think Hawaii is one of those places where you don't want to do weather magic. Don't mess with perfection.
No, I believe she actually has found a lot of sea glass, or on occasion found sea glass. What is sea glass, Bob, and what is its magical properties? How can it help us?
Sea glass, it's interesting. I call it the gems of the sea. It's actually back in the old days, back when I was young, we used to have real glass bottles. You hardly see glass bottles anymore. Um, but when I was young, people's bottles would get thrown into the ocean. People didn't care about littering back then. The good thing that came out of that pollution, if there's such a thing, is that the bottles would be broken up in the sea, hitting rocks and boats and stuff. And they would just float down in the ocean. And over time, the salt water would wear away the rough edges and make them soft and silky. And they would kind of change their tone and they look like soft, kind of luminescent gemstones. And sea glass carries the vibration of the ocean. And it also is good in magic for not only ocean attunement, but also the color that it vibrates. Like there's a lot of blue seagrass or green sea glass, if you need a color vibration, that enhances the vibration because it's got the power of the sea behind it and the color energy.
That's amazing. That was a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Jones wants to know if he can use flint to help clear an area and send things away.
I wouldn't say you can't. I'm not familiar with that technique. So I'd have to look into that. Lord Tony, do you know anything about flint?
I have no idea about it other than it was used for starting fires.
Yeah. I think that tapping it on another stone so that it does spark, if you do it with intent, it can be used to cleanse an area. I prefer smoke of some kind, burning a branch or burning incense or whatever. But you can do it just like ringing a bell can help to cleanse an area, or tapping sticks, can run off energies. If it's done with intent, it can work. So that's a good question.
Good question. You got me curious. I'm going to research flint spells now this week because I've never thought about that, but that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Amy Johnson says, any ideas for dealing with negative family members?
I do, but it wouldn't be legal.
Spoken by a true guardian. I'll tell you, I have a saying that I use, and it's saved my life in the past. It's called love them at a distance.
Mm-hmm.
When you're dealing with the dysfunctional environments, particularly family, a lot of people get trapped in the concept that, well, they're my family, I have to love them and let them into my life. No, you don't. Blood does not make a family. Love of the heart makes a family. There are people here in our OPC, we're more of a family in OPC than you have in your own family, some of you. And see, so your family can be defined not by blood, but by love. So when you have people that are abusive, particularly, you have a right to defend yourself. And sometimes that defense means you just don't go around and don't get caught up in that drama. Because I tell you, as a psychic, I've seen some shockingly disturbing family cycles that would literally turn your hair white. Some people are cruel and they use the family vibration to lord their power over somebody. And that's always wrong. So love them at a distance. Doesn't mean you have to be hateful. It just means you choose not to be involved in that.
Yep, I agree. I've actually been in situations like that, and I planted different pieces of rose quartz here and there around the house, and wore some tourmaline, and carried it in my pocket or on my person, or rose quartz just to try. Rose quartz has a good, friendly and calming vibrations. So it just helps the energy. It heals. So I would recommend incorporating somehow some rose quartz. Put it around the house or carry it with you. Hopefully that will help. It should help.
And if all else fails, Lord Tony has a big sword you can call on.
I have a couple of them.
Don't we know?
You know why we keep Tony on staff.
Bob, our time is flying by.
Oh my gosh, it's almost at 9 o'clock. I swear, you know, God, I don't know if it's just me, but do you guys feel like every week the show gets shorter and shorter? I swear I do. It's just like a blink and it's gone, you know?
Yep.
You know, guys, before we go, I have to give a plug. I hope you'll forgive me, Lady Angela and Lord Tony, for being commercial here, but I've got a big public appearance coming this week. And on Tuesday, Psychic Bob is going to be appearing in downtown Silver Spring, Maryland, with the Washington, D.C. radio station, WRQX FM, which is Mix 107.3. And I'm going to be there as a psychic on site. They're having a big mystic mix and mingle at the Fillmore. And if you go to my website, it's got all the information about it, how to get there and the link to it. But I want to let you guys know that even if you're not local to Washington, D.C., you can now listen to that radio station on the internet. This is a major media outlet in our area. And so I'll be there and I'll be interviewed throughout the night. I'll be doing psychic readings and meet and greet. So, you know, if you want to come out and see Psychic Bob, you're in the DC metro area, you can come out. Tickets are $10 that you buy at the door to come in. They'll have hors d'oeuvres and cocktails there. And we're going to be doing free readings that night. Okay, so no charge. And you can meet me. I'll sign any books that you want to do pictures as well. So I hope you'll support us.
Now, how can they get to the website where it's going to be aired at, Bob? How can they, is there a link they can use, or how do they get to it?
Yeah, if they go to my website, on my website at robert-hickman.com, there's there'll be a picture there, say Mix 107.3. Just click on that image, or right below it, I can't remember where we put it. There's a link there that will take you directly to the site. And once you're in the website, it'll say live. You'll see buttons. You just click on live and it'll bring up the broadcast live on your computer.
Yep, absolutely. And hey, we're so happy all of you are here tonight. You know, we've had a lot of Purple Core people in the chat, a lot of regulars. We got a lot of new people too. And I just want to give another shout out to everybody. We look forward to seeing y'all here and interacting with you and seeing what happens. It's your show just as much as it is ours.
That's right. It's a group effort. And, you know, all of you, I want to give a shout out to, we have some British viewers here tonight as well. Gav Hines is here, and his family's been reaching out to me all week. Any of you, I mean, all of you who are taking time out, especially those who are, you know, staying up in Europe. We have people from Germany here tonight and England. It's like 1 and 2 a.m. And we want you to know that that sacrifice you make to be here is appreciated. So I want to say thank you to the European viewers as well. And, you know, I just encourage all of you, you know, if you enjoy the things we talk about here tonight, you know, you might want to start to explore. Some of you may have never heard of Wicca. This may be the first time you've explored it. And, you know, Lady Angela's a wonderful shop. It's an excellent resource to explore books on Wicca, to explore magical items and tools. And as I always say, the craft is meant to be experienced. So start practicing. You don't have to wait till somebody gives you formal approval to do Wicca. You just start and discover it on your own. And we're here to help you along the way. And for those of you who are interested in joining the Order of the Purple Cord, if you go to my website, robert-hickman.com, it has information on how to join the order, or you can go to Lady Angela's website at rarewiccaspells.com, and it has info as well. And just send us an email. If you want to be in the order, it's free to join. We have the information, all you got to do over there, which I won't spend time with now, but just go read about it. Send us an email, and we'll explain more to you and get you in the order. I'd love you to be there. And as I said, it's free to be membership.
Or they could just type it in on Facebook too, Bob. Just type in Order of the Purple Cord and it'll pop up our page too, and you can message us directly through there as well.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I always forget that. you know. So yes, there are a lot of ways to reach us, and we'd love you to be part of our group. We're an eclectic Wiccan group. We don't have a lot of rules. Our only rule is that you honor the Wiccan read. So we don't do black magic or curses, and it harm none. Do as you will. So we'd like you to, if you're out there and you're saying, I don't have anybody, and every week I come here and I learn from you guys, well, come be part of us and formally join our order, and that'll give you access to our secret Facebook page. We have 2 pages. We have a public page, and then we have a secret page. And the secret page is so that people can meet each other in a safe environment without the public harassing you. And especially for those of you whose families don't know you're Wiccan yet, it's a kind of a secret location you can meet others as well.
And it's a good energy. We don't let a lot of people in there. We don't let people in there, period, that go in and cause trouble. We got Lord Tony and Bob and myself. We look out for that. And it's a positive atmosphere. It's very encouraging. We have prayer chains. We have encouragement. You could share pictures of your witchy stuff, and everybody will say, wow, that's cool. That's awesome. And share theirs too and ask questions. And it's just a lot of fun. So we'll hope you all join us. We really look forward to getting to know you, interacting with you, and just sharing in our experiences with like-minded people. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we've reached the hour mark, so we're going to wrap it up tonight. I want to say thank you for being here. You guys are best. I love you. Listen, keep it here at Spirit Channel. We got more coming. Tomorrow is Monday. That means horoscopes. So make sure to be here and get your horoscope. In my horoscopes, I'm covering every day of the week what's going on astrologically, as well as giving horoscopes for all 12 zodiac signs. So if you watch the video, you will get a reading for yourself, okay? So I'm going to let Lady Angela and Lord Tony say good night as well.
Good night, everybody. Tonight was exciting. And Bob, I'm looking forward to your horoscopes tomorrow because you were spot on mine last week. So I'm looking forward to this coming weeks, and hope to see you all there. Hope to get some purple cord requests and shout outs over on our Facebook page. Thank you, Tony, for being here. Thank you, Bob, for having me. And good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night, everybody. Yeah, it was a great show tonight. A lot of interesting things come up on there, a lot of new information I didn't know about either. So, yeah, I had a blast. Let's see. Yeah, if you want to get a hold of me too for any angelic type healings, you can reach me if you just Google it. I got to change the name of it. It's just too dang long, but just Google Lightbringers Angels, or actually Lightbringers Angel, all one word, and it should take you right to the website.
Yay! And you can contact him. He's a gifted healer. He works with the highest and the best. I can tell you, you won't be disappointed with his work. Tony, I'm so glad you're here tonight. Thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom and your guidance. It helps so many of us. And Lady Angela, thank you to you as well.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, it's the magic hour. It's the witching hour. Wherever you be open. That was great. Be open to magic. Let the spirit lead you and go forth with joy into your week. We're glad you're here, and we send blessings to each of you. May you all blessed be. Only one more time.
One more time?
Your mojo act. Good night, guys.
Good night.